So we are in the Wildlife Tourism College of the Maasai Mara. And this college sits in Pardamat Conservancy. It's a community wildlife conservancy, but it's unique in the sense that it's a dual-use conservancy. And dual-use means that people live in the same area, in the same conservancy, with the livestock together with the wild animals. So there are wildlife corridors going in between the settlements. And this is even harder to create as a coexistence, as a peaceful coexistence, than only having a wildlife conservancy where people move out. So Pardamat is a showcase when it comes to this model of wildlife conservation. And it's relevant here, but also outside Maasai Mara because of the population growth. You can't move people out. They have to live somewhere. And if you can't coexist with wildlife, there will not be enough room for wildlife. So you have to create this new model that fits into the mosaic of community wildlife conservation effort. You need different models that come together, that complement themselves. So this one is now becoming actually an international standard already. People come from all over Africa to learn from a model that is still in its infancy. So that makes it very relevant. Now, if you zoom out from here, we talk about the Maasai Mara. And the Maasai Mara is recognized as one of the 7 new wonders of the world. It's unique when it comes to wildlife, biodiversity on the planet. And it's a critical part of the Mara-Serengeti ecosystem, which is only 1/1000th of Africa's landmass, but it contains is home to maybe 40% of what's left of the larger mammals in Africa, which is the continent of larger mammals. So this means that if you destroy it, if you continue chopping it off, if you continue stopping the wildlife corridors, then it's irreplaceable. You can't come in 5-10 years and say, sorry, let's redo it. So you need to make up your mind whether you want this to be saved for the next generation, or do you only want them to go to the zoo and the animal parks to watch these African iconic species? It's a choice to be made because it needs funding, it needs management, it needs educational skill sets. And the choice, all of us, we have to face it and we have to decide now. I don't think we will feel very good if we look ourselves in the mirror and say, I knew it was there, I knew it was booming, I've been there and I loved it, but I didn't do anything about it. And this crisis in national destruction and biodiversity loss, it's not limited, of course, to the Maasai Mara and Serengeti. It's not limited to Africa. It happens in every part of the world. And the rate of destruction is unbelievable and unmatched and is well documented. So nobody can come and say, I didn't know, because the scientists have proven this over and over again. Probably about 70% of species loss in the last 50 years. It's unmatched, unprecedented during the time that sophisticated life has existed on the earth. That's a time span of 2 billion, and we are the reason. It's not natural catastrophes. It's the human beings and the way we live our lives. So we are at the crossroads. We need to make up our mind. So there is a lot of anxiety, fear, and talk about climate change, temperature rise, and carbon emission being the reason for it. But we have to remember that scientists say probably 50% of man-made carbon emission is absorbed by nature. In other words, it's not possible to solve the climate crisis, the temperature rise, without taking care of Mother Earth. She is our best instrument to meet this crisis. And we all know, if you read the scientists, the urgency of it. So it's not only about the right of life to live, biodiversity, it's also about, in our own interest, to meet the temperature rise, the climate change, and Mother Earth is the best instrument. So one of the biggest inspiration for being here, doing all this, is the community. Because all of this is actually initiated by foresighting leaders in the local community. It's true for this college, it's true for Pardamat, it's true for all the conservancies, the wildlife only that we're involved in. Of course, together with partners, because you need partners. This is a partnership. Nobody can do this alone. You need tourist investors, you need donors, you need scientists, you need NGOs. But the driving force more and more is the land owners of this land. Land is privatized, is owned by the local Maasai down to the individual household. And without them, you can never do it. And the more they can be the driving force, the better, because that is also the future. If you can't have the local community in the driving seat, not only in the back seat, you will not have a lasting solution. We need to find our seats in the car, and we are welcomed. I fully think that the local community leaders, they know this is a partnership. They can't do it alone. So tourism is one of the key things. Of course, we're lucky because we're in the Maasai Mara, which is a global brand. But the fact of the matter is that the right type of tourism in the Mara has been absolutely necessary and instrumental to secure this land. What we're talking about is 24 community wildlife conservancies sitting next to each other. We talk about close to 40 tourist investors with more than 40 camps. And we talk about close to $10 million paid each year in lease fee to 15,000 Maasai landowners that have voluntarily leased their land long-term for conservation and wildlife preservation. And the length of the leases is 25 years with a renewal. That means they're actually now investing the land also for the next generation. To me, that shows that this model is viable, it's functioning with all its challenges, and is one of the models for the future. So I just wanted to emphasize that the only way you can do this, due to the scale of the task and the urgency, if you can only do it if you can get a lot of partners together and organize them in an efficient way. It's the only way. And it will call for more and more large-scale partnership. We are, as everybody else in this field, hugely underfunded. And most of the funding is short-term, a couple of years. It means it's very difficult to plan. So what we need is large-scale funding partners with a long-term commitment and horizon. You need both of them. We need to also secure not only Maasai Mara ecosystem, but also connect it to other crucially important ecosystems like the Amboseli ecosystem, another icon in Kenya, through the Loita forest and the wildlife corridors in that area. That's when you get the real scale. We, as the foundation and the sustainable business model we have in tourism, are also involved up in northern Kenya. We're involved small scale, but still on the coast. They all face the same problem: short-term limited funding. But you can actually scale and tailor-make this according to who you have joining you. It's not like one model fits all. You can do a lot of things, but the big need is to start thinking much bigger, raise the bar because of the urgency and the scale of biodiversity loss and natural resource loss, habitat loss. So if this excites you, whether you've been here or not, if you haven't, come and see. Seeing is believing. But if this excites you, if this is something that emotionally energizes you, saying that, yes, this is important. This is actually important on very many levels. It's different. It's holistic. It's future. It's my children. It's my grandchildren. We don't want this ecosystem to die. If you feel that, contact us and let's have a chat. Come out and see for yourself. You're very, very welcome. Thank you.